in just a second. I'm going to push. Oh, never mind. Uh, Sonia, take it away.
Welcome, everyone. For those that are new to Bragg, our mission is to provide a form of collegial interaction in the research administration community. We do this by facilitating presenters by subject matter experts, creating an environment to foster peer-to-peer exchanges, and seeking and sharing best practices. Today, we have a panel of post-award experts who will share their best practices during the post-award stage and are available to answer your post-award questions. Joining us today is Angel Rano from CGA, Fallon Batchelor from Office of the Vice Chancellor for Research, Jeannie Wage from BEST Region, and Uncle Fu from PROS Region, and Hannah Holloway from Share Region. I'll now turn it over to Brenda, who will be our panel moderator for today.
Thanks, Sonia. And thank you, everyone who submitted questions in advance. If you have a question to ask our panelists during today's discussion, please use the raise hand reaction or the Q&A function in Zoom. To start things off, let's hear from each of our panelists. If you can just give a brief or a quick introduction of yourself and a brief description, or I'm sorry, I'm reading from a script, so please forgive me. Quickly introduce yourself and then briefly describe a sense or two your role in the post-award and financial management process. So Angel, you want to start?
Hi everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Angel Riono, and I work in the Contracts and Grants Accounting Office. So under the Controller's Office, under the BC Finance. And I am the analyst that handles currently my portfolio is mainly of SSL grants, contracts, and other cooperative agreements. And so I am helping you if you're in the department or you're an RA, I'm helping you set up the award in the in BFS. I'm providing reporting, invoicing. I also help provide information about received payments, and I help you close or do interim reporting on financial matters.
Great. Fallon?
Hi, I'm Fallon. I am a financial analyst with the Vice Chancellor of Research Office. I have a portfolio mixed with some ORU departmental funds, and I handle some recharge items also that are part of QB3.
Jeannie?
I'm Jeannie Wage. I'm a post-award research administrator in the BEST region, and my portfolio is mostly with QB3, which is the California Institute for Quantitative Biosciences, and that's in ORU.
Anne?
Hi, I'm in the PROS region, and I'm an RA supervisor, and mostly in the PROS region, we're separated pre and post, but I supervise the pre-award team and a portion of the post-award team. So I have my foot in both camps, which is very helpful.
Great. Hannah?
I'm Hannah Holloway. I am a contract and grant supervisor in the Share region. And a Share region is a little unique because most of us are cradle to grave. So the majority of my portfolio, I manage pre and post award. However, some units in the Share region are split pre-post. And so I do have some faculty I support that I only support the post award side. I've been an RA on campus for about 11 years, and just an RA.
Great. Santita?
Hi, everyone. I'm, as Hannah mentioned, that Veronica has some family emergency, so I just stepped in. Yeah, I'm a contracts and grant supervisor in ARSA region. And as you all know, that ARSA do cradle to grave. So I do cover pre and post award. So my portfolio, I mostly do the College of Engineering faculty statistics, MPS units, which include statistics and other physics and math and physical science. And we have other ORUs like urban development and architecture and few others. So it's a mixed bag at this point. And as I already said, I do both pre and post award. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. And thanks again for agreeing to be part of our panelists and educating us in post-award fund management. I'm going to be asking some questions, and it looks like it's broken into like 5 categories. There's general questions, RA questions, FA questions, CGA questions, closing questions. So I'm just going to throw, is that the format, Hannah? I'm just going to ask, just go down the line, or you have any suggestions?
Feel free to pick one of the many questions that were submitted in advance, and okay. You can call on a particular person or just say something like this. This question is for the RAs, or this question is for CGA, okay. That sort of thing. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. I too I'm filling in for someone who unfortunately was out sick today, so I'm not quite prepared. But let's start with some RA questions. The first one is, and feel free, anyone, I guess, to have at it. But how many of you have pre-award experience, and how has that informed your post-award work? Jeannie?
Yeah, I have a little bit of pre-award experience, and I think it's super valuable for the post-award work. It helps me understand, like, when I'm reviewing, when I have time, I try to look at the proposals for all of the awards I manage just to see what was, initially intended. And I can do that a lot easier because I have the pre-award experience. I also think with all of the handoffs in our job, really, anytime we can have an understanding of what comes before or after the post-award RA part is helpful. So yeah, I'm really glad I've gotten that little taste of it, even though I don't do it at all anymore.
Great.
Yeah, so I just wanted to chime in because I'm one of the RAs that are cradle to grave. I think we lost Sanchita. I don't know.
By internet, I'm back again.
Oh, okay.
It's by internet issue. Sorry.
Okay. So I'm in a unique situation because some of my portfolio, I do support cradle to grave. So I'm the one that's preparing the proposal and the budget, and I'm very familiar with it when it comes in on the post-award side. However, some of the faculty I only support the post-award side. So a lot of times I don't know what proposals are being submitted. And I do my best when I do my monthly reconciliation and reporting. I always like to just take a sneak peek periodically at what proposals have been submitted and are waiting sponsor notification for the PIs, just so I'm aware. Sometimes the pre-award RA will ping me because they know I'm the post-award RA, and so they may ask me to review a budget or review some cost share, make sure that the cost share is essentially doable on the post-award side, make sure that it's presented correctly and it's something that we can actually track and report as cost share. Other times I'll get pinged on PI effort to make sure that the PIs are not already overcommitted and it's okay for them to commit, a month's summer salary or something like that.
Sorry, I missed the question, but question is, as I said, I do cradle to grave, so I know it's easier for us. Most of the time, I'm the one who did the proposal, so I know, therefore, I know what is allowable, what is not allowable, what was in the solicitation. When our document comes in, I have all the full informations. So it becomes easy for when you do on the post-award side, you're already fully aware of it, how you have to manage that award. And even if you are inheriting any portfolio, you still know, since you do the pre-award, it's easy for you to read the award agreement, easy for you to go to solicitation and see how it is once done, proposals. It kind of makes things easier because you have that background knowledge, how to do the proposals. So definitely it helps to have the pre-award experience. And also,
I agree with all of that. And because we know in pre-award that it's important for post-award to know why particular decisions were made about the budget, we try and highlight in our funding announcement in Phoebe. I mean, it's just one of the ways we're trying to bridge the gap when we're not doing cradle to grave. And we'll say, okay, they have to spend 2,000 on this meeting that they have to go to each year. So it's a clue in for the post-award.
Great. To what extent do you review proposals for the awards you manage? I think some of you already kind of answered.
Yeah, it's the same question, and that it's
Yeah.
really important that if you can do that, you should.
Yeah. I mean, for the allowable expenses, sometimes travel may not be allowed. So who are the senior management? What is the effort they have, committed effort they have? So for all those things, you need to review the proposals. You need to review the budget that was submitted. If you need to revise a budget, especially for the state of California, what was the actual line item? Because line item deficits are not allowed. So you have to know the budget very well. So all those things, and depends with the NC, I mean, solicitation, reading this, especially for the training grants, like all those things, you need to know the budget, you need to know the proposals, what was submitted for this.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add, but I would definitely agree with both Anne and Nishita that it's critical for the post-award RA to review all of the proposal documents, including the solicitation. A lot of times the solicitation will actually show like the unallowables and allowable costs, and you can't always like go to the sponsor's website to see that. So a lot of times you do have to rely on that solicitation, which is why it's needed to be uploaded into Phoebe so we can view it.
Especially for cost share, you have to look at it.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Here's another question. How do you handle taking on a new portfolio? Actually, a nice question. Anne, you wanted to, there you go.
Yeah,
go
I can go. Basically, you need to immerse yourself in it. You need to meet with the PI. You need to talk to them about the different funds, their plans for the funds. You need to go back to the proposals, look and see what was proposed, know the budgets and know what's coming up. Get yourself set up with projections, whether you do them in PI portfolio or whether you do them in Excel, whatever works for you efficiently. And yeah, just really get to know what's going on. And also, it's important to work with your PI to know how you can communicate with them best. What's their preferred method? Because I have a PI who is extremely busy, often traveling, and she just gave me her phone and said, text me, and then I'll look at your email. And that works really well. But otherwise, it could be several days where there's no communication. So you have to figure out those things as well.
Yeah, I agree. The PI's working style. But I can say one thing in ARSO, we have a checklist when there is a portfolio transition. So there is a checklist like when the person who is leaving or taking whatever or if there is a portfolio reassignment, we have a checklist like you have to complete this job before you do the transition. So that way, the new person who is getting inheriting the portfolio knows that these are the things already done. These are the things that couldn't be done for a certain reason that they have to take care of this. So all this information, there's a checklist we follow it to make things easier. So, and that really helps. And of course, there's a portfolio transition meeting, at least 2 meetings. So that way we make sure the transition has been done correctly. But of course, there are certain things you cannot do. So you have to take a note of it. And definitely communicating with the PI and understanding their working style, because everybody has all of us have a different working style. So that's something we need to make sure we figure things, have a meeting with the PI and connect, because people are much braver behind the email, but they are much nicer when they meet, and with this eye connection definitely helps. So meeting with the PI and like developing that relationship at the beginning definitely helps.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of transition meetings, and it's very helpful when you know that the transition is happening and you know an employee is leaving and you're going to be getting additional work. And so that process usually goes pretty smoothly because you can talk with the RA that's currently managing those awards and see what the state is and ask questions. I've also been in transitions where we didn't have that opportunity, and so I just kind of got handed a portfolio with some funds to manage. And at that point, that's when you really do, as Anne said, have to immerse yourself in those awards and get to know those awards, those sponsors, review the contract, look at the Insure UCI portfolio. So I always look at the portfolio, NPI portfolio. I usually wipe out all projections and start from scratch just because that's me. And so that way I understand what's going on, and then definitely connect with the PI to make sure that you're fitting what they need for their in terms of their communication. I don't know. I'm kind of curious if there's any difference in portfolio transition for finance analysts and CGA.
Well, wait, okay. So for CGA, I think one of the things that I would, having the person who was handling any parts of your new portfolio around for you to consult would be great. But I think that, in fact, there's a wonderful community of RAs and department finance people who are relevant to specific awards that are also great to speak with in SPO and IAO. The bigger, outline of the new portfolio is probably going to be similar to your previous job, unless you're coming into this brand new. But these finer questions about allowables, like Sanchita was saying, you have to spend $2,000 on something that you were not clear about. It's great to reach out directly to the RAs who worked on the pre-award stuff, part of it, or SPO and IO for clarification.
And I guess for FAs, or especially speaking in just the Vice Chancellor's office, because I know each group has their own procedures, but for us, if we know that there's change, we work with our colleagues and get to know the unit. If there's an abrupt departure, you're kind of thrown in and you have to deep dive into the historical information and learn it. And it's with the fund management side of departmental funds, at least it's kind of consistent, and you just kind of need to look and see, what are your common transactions, and just learning the portfolio. You might not know the specifics of the ins and outs, but that comes with the time of being involved in it.
Great. Okay, so this is more of a general question. Can someone explain other employee compensation and vacation debits and credits? To me, I'm sorry. Can someone explain other employee compensation and vacation and debits and credits in layman's terms? Fallon, you want to take a stab at that one?
Essentially, other employee compensation is the vacation, sick time, debit transaction with this when salary is posted. So it's not your CBR, which is a standard rate depending on your salary account code. And the universal estimate that we use for other employee compensation is about 9%, I think, 9%. And then the other thing with the other employee compensation is that we have the debit when salary hits, but when people take vacation time, we receive a nice credit. So if you're in a budget crunch, you like to encourage people to take some vacation time. That kind of explain it.
I would say most employees are assessed, or their OEC, other employee compensation, is about 9%, and you can take the OEC debit that person that month, divide it by the salary that person that month, and see what the rate is. Most employees are at 9%, but the debits that get charged each month are basically the employee's leave that gets accrued. You know, as an employee, you might get 8 hours of sick leave and 10 hours of vacation time. You know, whatever that is, it gets charged to wherever you're working. When you take a vacation or take a sick day, it credits that. In theory, it should zero out if you're taking all of your vacation and sick leave in the same month as accrued. So never happens, but that's in theory.
Yeah,
that's my best explanation.
Yeah, no, that's perfect actually. So the 9% that's assessed on payroll, that goes into a big campus pool, and it just sits there. And as people takes vacation, that pool is debited, and then the department is credited that vacation. So that's what employee OEC is.
Yeah, and the reason we don't include OEC in our budgets is because, you know, we don't know when people are going to be sick or take vacation. So the university said, well, in theory, they should be using their leave, so it should net to zero. And we all know in the fund management world, that does not always happen.
Yeah, that doesn't happen, but just tell the faculty that you take the leave so you don't waste your money. I mean, that gives, when you take the vacation, you get the credit back. So explain it to the faculty because they don't know it always. So, and explain it why we don't include in the budget, because they get confused why it's showing up in the ledger, but it's not, you didn't include in the budget. So there is a confusion, just explain it to them and that helps.
Great. How does your team stay connected in a remote environment? Great question.
Via Zoom.
Yeah, via Zoom, team chat, office hours, those are the things, if local people can do in-person lunches, that's good, but not always possible. But at least this Zoom is our lifesaver, and team chats definitely helps. And office hours, anybody has any questions, I'm sure every supervisors and managers have office hours, allow something so people can come in and ask questions during that time. I have a team chat where everybody is dumping questions and getting help whenever they need anything. So
yeah, I hold weekly office hours for my team as well. They can it's optional. They can jump in, they can say hi, we can chit chat, you can ask a question. I also hold them in addition to the share RA big meeting. I have a monthly meeting with just my team to kind of build rapport among each other. Just because not everyone knows everyone, and some people have never met in person before. We've also done in the share region in general, not just research administration. There's a lot of region activities, we'll do a share and tell where it's on Zoom, where somebody will share their craft or whatever. I think the last one we had was scrapbooking. And yeah, we do a lot of fun activities. One of my co-supervisors in research administration has a family feud game on Zoom, and so we pitted my team against his team as a fun little activity one afternoon, just to take a break from work and have some fun. It was a good time.
Yeah, I mean, in my team, that's what I have every week, half an hour. Just a fun time. So every week, standard fun time. You cannot talk. I mean, you can ask about work, but work is minimum. Fun time is more different topics we talk about it, and everybody shares their idea and have fun, just to get a break from work for half an hour. So, and stay connected and know each other personally at a personal level. So
I would really, I think the team chats are really great for me personally too. And then the thing that has happened more informally in CGA is some of us are assigned the task of bringing new analysts up to speed because they may be coming from a different accounting or business system, or different non-UC campus, for example, so not familiar with a lot of things from top to bottom. And so after doing the basic training on the business system itself for our work, I've like basically arranged just hold that space monthly so that and some of our analysts are coming in working fully remote. They're not even in California, so we can't physically meet, but I'm holding a space for folks to talk about things that are not really not so technical to our work, but more like, policy, the history of, how we've come to use the system the way we do, things like that. So that's been very helpful to bring new people on board and help them feel like they have a place to talk about these things.
Great. Here's a CGA question. What happens to effort reports after they're certified? Do they get sent somewhere? If not, does anyone ever look at them?
Yes. Yes. We look at them in the accounting office. It's usually related to audits. So we do look at them on at least an annual basis. And there's actually, if you go on the controller's website, let me just post the link. I have it. There's actually a PDF that you can look at. And I can tell you on the controller's website about effort reporting that it is required by uniform guidance that we certify effort. And the way we do that is to look at it against, UCPath data. And this link will tell you more about how that happens. And there is a team that's not CGA, but it's within the accounting department that reviews that on an annual basis. And we will, if an audit, our regular audits that come up, they will ask for backup documentation, they'll ask for samples. And so we do have to review them and make sure that the data and the effort reporting, the ERS information and the payroll data is matching.
Great. Here's another question. What do CGA analysts want us to know about their job, or what feedback do they have for us? I guess it's
yes. Well, okay. One thing that I think we want to make clear is we sit in the accounting office and we are sort of the internal auditors, or at least we interface with auditors a lot. So our job is to record and report and then also send invoices and keep track of receivables, which is part of the record and reporting. But we really try to stay away from any decisions about expenses or adjustments of expenses. That's going to be up to the RAs, the PI. Yeah, the PI is the one who's ultimately he delegates the responsibility out to administrators. So he or she. And then we have certain user access to BFS, the business system, that RAs don't have, which we're very happy to collaborate with folks on campus. If you're not able to see a query or a report that seems to be very relevant, we're happy to collaborate with you. And then another important thing to share is that the general ledger is one of the shared or objective data that CGA uses to work with everybody on campus. And that is our final record. And if things don't match up with that, that's when we're going to have to work a little harder, figure out what's going on. And yeah, so, and then I guess CGA analysts are happy to work with you to resolve many issues. However, usually your supervisor is the best person to consult with, because you might have access to your supervisor might have access in BFS that you didn't know that they have, and then they can also your team and your region, might have procedures and policies that you'll need to follow first before you come and talk to us. So please consider that before just coming to us. And I also encourage that if you're talking to SPO and it has or IAO and it has financial implications, don't hesitate to copy us on those emails. And have I answered all the questions? Are there any additional questions? No. Okay, I'm done.
Brenda, it looks like you're talking, but we can't hear you. Oh. Did we lose Brenda?
Good. I thought I'm frozen again.
Oh, there she is. Brenda, it looked like you were saying something, but then we couldn't hear you.
We cannot hear you, Brenda.
Okay, Brenda is having some technical difficulties. She is going to have to sign back in, and hopefully she'll be back in a few minutes and we can be able to hear her. In the meantime, if I have questions, I can ask questions. Let's see. So this is for the RAs. It's kind of a very technical question. How do you handle award budget entries? I've noticed some RAs do nothing and leave the budget unallocated. Some break out the budget into direct costs and indirect costs, and some enter detailed budgets broken out by cost categories. Does someone want to talk about how
I could go.
Okay.
Yeah, I enter a detailed budget based on the proposal budget.
Yeah, that is exactly what we do. We break it down based on how it is in the proposal budget. And also based on the account category, also if possible, so we know what is allowable and not allowable. So that kind of helps you when you look at the prior versus current, so that has been, so it can, when you look at the report, Callan's report, it helps. So it's something that has been charged that shouldn't be charged in that category. So it's easy to identify.
I think it's also very important because for the PI to see those budget breakdowns, because as they're working on things, that's like a way for you to have a conversation with the people who are doing the spending, making the ultimate decision on spending, to say, like, this was our budget. Do you want to change the budget? Do you want to, or we're running over budget. To have this kind of conversation, because there's a sort of, like I was saying, for CGA, the general ledger is our, that piece of document that we share with everyone. Like, this is our truth. A budget is very good when you're talking with PIs.
I have a question on this to all of you, because this something came up with one of the award. How sometimes the PIs we do a proposal budget, but PIs may buy budget for a postdoc, but then they decided to hire a GSR instead because the recruitment took a lot of time. So the IDC is not applicable on the fees. Now we have more indirect, spending less money on indirect cost. So more money is available on the direct cost. Do you reallocate the budget in the ledger? So, I mean, that's what I'm asking, because that was Elizabeth Chavez was asking us, do RAs do that? And I personally don't do that. I don't think anybody in ARSO is not a policy to do that. So that's why I'm asking other regions, anybody, you guys are doing it or not? Because our thing is mostly if it's not affecting more than 25%, we don't do it. It's not a budget. We don't need to do a budget reallocations, 25% of the total cost of the award. And if this is less, we don't do it. Yeah, but any other regions doing it?
we don't have a policy on it. I mean, I think it depends on the RA.
Yeah,
there may be some RAs who prefer to see that, but I to be honest, I can't tell you when I've seen that happen. So, and they, you know, when spending is going in different places. I mean, one place that it's really important is UCOP grants, because they are very strict about whether you can change direct for indirect. So just a caution to any RA that has a UCOP grant, look out for that and don't assume that you can use your indirect costs. We've been caught out with that before. So
in the share region, we do encourage our RAs to reallocate the budget out of unallocated. We like to keep unallocated for CGA's activity of posting the budget and then reducing the budget after closeout. The RAs, we do encourage the RAs to reallocate from unallocated to the cost categories based on the budget, but we know that there are some awards and sponsors where there isn't really they don't match up with our cost categories. So just doing direct and indirect is fine with us. And then after the award closeout and CGA reduces the budget in the unallocated account code, then we can redistribute that unallocated amount. So the unallocated stays at 0. Okay, is Brenda back
yet? Looks like not. You go.
I don't think so. Okay. So let's see. What is your biggest challenge or pain point? Fallon, do you want to give us your biggest challenge or pain point?
It's maybe that's kind of hard. This is just my personal situation, but I like to have my funds as clean as possible. One of my portfolios is QB3, and we have a big mixture of departmental funds for operating purposes, and within all of these non-C&G funds, there's a bunch of research allocations for PIs, and it drives me bonkers having so many line items, because these PIs get gift allocations from other departments on campus, and so it's just, or award transfers, but there's so many little pots of money within these departmental funds, and it just makes the reporting really, really long on my end, and it's a lot of upkeep, and it kind of goes into like what's our job as a FA is to, yes, we manage departmental funds, but we oversee the org as a whole too. So, you know, the RA's job is to, yes, make sure everything's within budget and not overspending, but we also kind of alert if we see things stick out, like, hey, you know, this, you know, my deficit sweep, this funds in deficit, what's the plan for it? And because at the end of the day, if it sweeps, it goes to the departmental funding, and we need to know why. So yeah, my pain point is I like clean funds, and it doesn't always happen.
I think we all have that problem. Brenda is back. Can we do a sound check real quick? Make sure Brenda's mic is working. No. Okay. All right. Okay. Does anyone else want to talk about a pain point or challenge?
Yeah, I can say, I think one of the hardest things for us all is that we are in such silos. We have RAs here, we have HR here, we have CGA here, SPO here. So we have to work really hard sometimes to understand where we're each coming from. And understand what each other's processes are and how each other's processes affect each other. So I yeah, it's hard, and it's something that we should all work really hard to. If we get a message back and we don't know what the person's saying, just be patient and try and tease it out point by point. Don't, and don't give up until you know that you understand and that they understand too, because it is really hard. We especially if you haven't had experience in the other region, in the other, not region, shouldn't use it, in the other office, in CGA or SPO or HR, it takes us time to figure out what we're each saying.
And I think it helps when we make a call or a Zoom meeting quick, like it kind of helps, because sometimes email takes more time and understand to explain, like difficult to explain. Because I know Angel was like my lifesaver a lot of time. I'm like, Angel, help me. Angel gives me a quick call and it becomes, oh, that was easy. So, okay.
I agree. The language that we use in the controller's office on our website seems a little bit convoluted. And when you read it, like, oh, we're changing this or changing that, it might be like, oh my gosh, what is it? What's changing exactly? So, definitely feel free to contact your CGA analyst. And I'm open for phone calls and Zoom or Google videos just to explain things, or even do like screen sharing of what's changing.
Great. We did have oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I think one of the challenges that I have is related to the overspending. It's not like a pain point, but just realizing this doesn't happen that often, but in the middle of an award, that because new increments are just taking a long time to come for whatever reason, that really what we end up seeing is like a cash deficit on that the campus has to kind of absorb. And that's always one of the most challenging things, like trying to communicate like, hey, when is that new money coming in? So
all right, any other challenges or pain points?
Communicating with the PIs.
Yeah. I was going to say, for as long as I can remember, GSR hiring has been a pain point. I think it's, well, one thing that makes it hard is in the ORU, we work with a lot of different academic programs, and each one has their own expectations for how things should work. So it's always been kind of confusing. And then with the new contract, it's just like totally changed things. And I feel like we're all trying to catch up, and things are unclear right now. So that's the number one pain point for me.
I would say, yeah, the number one pain point right now.
Yes, for everyone.
Contracts and hiring. Yeah. We did have a question come in during the meeting, and I wanted to make sure we got to it. It's for the FA, Alan. Would FAs, finance analysts, like to have themselves CC'd on RA monthly reporting when we see deficits on departmental funds in ORU? For example, so
yes,
you want me to rephrase the question?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I send out my monthly report, I always look at the non-sponsored fund, right? And so if I see, oh, PI, your 9900 fund in QB3, whatever, is in deficit, would you, as the FA, want to be CC'd on that communication, bringing attention to the deficit on departmental funds? I know some FAs include the RA when they see a grant in deficit.
Yes and no, because at the same time that I'm probably seeing it also, since I'm running my report as a whole L4 and not just specific to a chart build 2 or specific to the fund and debt ID. So odds are I'm already seeing it. I mean, it doesn't hurt to CC the FA, just because then we know that you are bringing awareness to the PI, like that hey, we need to clean this up, or are you expecting a transfer of funds over? So I mean, I would say maybe yes, it could just turn into an influx of emails for us, depending on how much you see. And again, odds are it's something that we've already seen, because I'll bring attention to, especially if it's a non-sponsored award, but we don't have any departmental spending on it. And so it's just specifically for a PI, and, you know, odds are it could have just been a transfer from another department and they just keep spending on it and have no idea. So yeah, so I would say yes, just so that we know that you are aware and we're not having to, we know that you're aware and not having to say, hey, have you looked at this? So
maybe CC the SA or just reach out separately to that SA and say, hey, I noticed this deficit, do you expect another transfer, something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Oh, Brenda was doing such a great job as moderator, and now she has some mic issues, and we've been chatting individually, just the two of us. So I'm going to take over for the last 10 minutes. I'm sorry, Brenda. We'll let you moderate the next panel, okay? We did have a question come in regarding cost share that I wanted to bring up. If a department agrees to pay for a cost, for example, financial aid, separate from the depth ID of the award, does there have to be a cost share CF1 tied to the cost share charge string? Is it enough at award closeout to show that there was cost share on the ledger? Seems like an unnecessary step. Angel, would you like to address this from a CGA perspective, or would you like me to answer this as the person that teaches cost share?
I think you should
answer
that question.
The answer is very short. It is yes. All cost share must absolutely include a cost share CF1. The cost share CF1 that begins with a 2 is the way that our university tracks and reports cost share. If it is not, your expense is not on the cost share CF1, CJ is not going to sign off on your cost share report.
And to piggyback on it, cost share is a part of your sponsored award. So therefore, the budget should be transferred to your research depth ID. So you are seeing it because it has your award depth ID and your award PI associated with it. So when you're running your reports, you should be seeing that cost share line that lies on a departmental fund.
Yeah. The cost share chargings don't necessarily have to have the PICS2, but personally, I always recommend that they do.
So there are cost shares that are external to the university. So when cost shares are related to data that is not on our ledger, CGA will need to see like a receipt from that third party. Anything from an actual receipt that they purchased with their own money, they're not charging us, to a letter that's written on letterhead that's official.
Yeah, great point. Most third-party cost share, I usually secure a letter, an official letter on letterhead, signed by the appropriate person from whatever third-party entity is providing that cost share. Okay, we had another question. We have 7 minutes left in this, so I'm going to try and get through a lot of these questions. What is the biggest pain point for CGA as it relates to closeout?
What is the biggest pain point as it's related to closeout?
What's CGA's biggest pain point with closeout?
Did I miss that one on the?
No, it came in live. I'm sorry.
Oh, it came in live. Okay. To close out. I don't know. I mean, it's not. I was just actually shadowing an RAPDP about best practices for awards and mostly talking about closeouts, and for closeouts, and I feel like everybody has the same pain point. But I think for a little while when we're moving to a 90-day for the Fed to close out, at least my team, and that's really helped things, because before the 120-day it was really difficult. And it has a lot to do with, I think a lot of people don't understand that after we close out, there are some things that we're doing inside of sponsors portals where they restrict our access. And so, you know, doing things not at the literally at the last minute for the Fed's, you know, deadline is better, like a month or 2 months before. It's always good. And so I had a hard time conveying that, but now that we have sort of like a uniform change, it's been a little bit better. Any other?
No other live questions coming in, and we have 5 minutes left. So last question, really quick. What advice would you give someone new to Berkeley and new to research administration fields?
And
Go ahead, Sanchita.
I mean, first of all, get used to the UCB, like the acronyms, like different acronyms. Go to this website. All the acronyms are there. Go to like, because we use so many acronyms, and go to the visit BRS Wiki. Because BRS Wiki is available to, I think it's available. It's not restricted, right? So because ARSO Hub has a restrictions, only the RAs in ARSO can only access to it. So those are the two links. Like, I mean, I can post it. Anybody is interested, they can. So it's a good way to start it, to understand it, the RA jobs and everything. Okay, you already posted it. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry.
So, I mean, this is another one for the acronyms. I can post it here. So get familiarized with it. And of course, attend RA RAC meeting, brag meetings, like the FAs who have the, like, you can always join. I think you get the invitations, or anybody with this link can join. Like, and of course, this brag meeting is a great way to learn about the RA job, get exposed to it, understand that it will take, and understand that it takes 6 months to understand. The moment you join, you will not become a great RA. It takes a 6 months learning curve. So after that, it goes down the hill. That first 6 months is you're learning a ton of things. And so give that time, have some patience and learn, and try to take as much help from others. You have to reach out and ask people for help to learn about this job. So
yeah, to kind of to build off that, I would definitely say be patient, because it's a big job with a lot of acronyms and a lot of things going on, a lot of policies and procedures. Get to know your resources, use your resources, both websites like the RA Wiki, also people, your colleagues, your supervisors, colleagues in other regions. Meetings like this and the RAC forum are a great way to connect with others outside of your own region and your own team. And finally, if a PI gets mad at you, it's okay. Just don't take it personally. You got to have a little thick skin in the RA world. We're the ones saying, no, you can't do that. And they get mad, and you just can't take it personally. So that's my advice.
It's one other thing. Just one other thing. I can't remember if we mentioned RAPDP.
Yes, absolutely.
That's a great way to, even if you know the content, it's a great way to connect with lots of people on campus. So.
And it definitely helps RAPDP. Any training, join any trainings that's available to teach you. Yeah.
Okay. Any last minute advice for a new employee at Berkeley in the research administration field? Okay, great. We did have a comment about will the questions and answers be shared after the meeting. I will do my best to watch this recording and paraphrase everyone's answer and send those out. Sanchita, I know you're part of the panel, but I just want to bring it over to you to do our closing.
Sorry, I didn't forget that I was muted.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Okay, so let's give all of us a round of applause, since I'm also included in the panel now. So, let's give each other applause. And thank you again, everyone, for taking your time out of your busy schedule to attend today's BRAG meeting. We will put the link of our short survey in the chat. I think, Hannah, can you just post the link? That will be very helpful. Please take a minute to provide the feedback on today's meeting and make recommendations on any future topics that you would like us to present at the BRAG meeting. We will also remember that we will also send the survey out in our email. So our next BRAG meeting will be on Monday, December 4th from 12 to 1 p.m., where we will be hearing from Professor Tucker Keltner from the Greater Good Science Center. So wish you all a very wonderful afternoon, and we will see you in December. Bye,
Thank you, everyone.